everyone, and thanks for joining today. I'm Hoda Moustafa at MIGA. Today, we're going to discuss a very exciting project we worked on in support of Bboxx, an innovative company that delivers off-grid energy solutions and so much more. I'm joined today by Ashwin West, Investment Director of African Infrastructure Investment Managers, or AIIM. Nice to see you, Ashwin.
Thanks, Hoda. Very good to be here.
Second, Harry Guinness, Managing Director of Lion's Head Global Partners. Hi, Harry.
Hi, everyone, and great to be here.
And last but not least, Mansoor Hamayun, Co-founder and Chief Executive Officer of Bboxx.
Nice meeting everyone. Hope to see you guys in person soon again.
Mansoor, I'd like to start with you today. Can you please tell us more about Bboxx and its mission?
Absolutely. Thank you, Hoda, for having us. Bboxx is a company that started 10 years ago with a mission of ending energy poverty globally. And Bboxx has been lucky enough to provide electricity to over 2 million people today. The way that we do that is through a combination of technology. In particular, the combination of mobile money, the digital payments, combined with IoT, Internet of Things, actually allows us to do something very unique and something very exciting, which is to offer customers on a pay-as-you-go basis electricity by installing solar panels, batteries, range of very energy efficient appliances. And the byproduct of all of that is data. And that data is what is helping us to actually provide an understanding of a customer that previously was unbanked, unelectrified, and suddenly we have a digital relationship with a client that is being electrified, and we can use that data to be able to finance further services and products as well. That's a bit of an intro to Bboxx and what we do and what we stand for.
Let me turn now to Ashwin and Harry. I would like each of you to tell us about your firm's part in this transaction, and in particular, what made it so innovative and different. Ashwin, as the equity investor, let's start with you.
So AIIM is a private equity infrastructure fund management business with a mandate to invest in Africa. We have about $2 billion of equity that we manage. And in terms of infrastructure, the energy sector is a really key focus area for us. So in 2018, after working with Mansoor and the team for about 3 or 4 months, we eventually committed $31 million to the business. What we really like about this business is obviously all the aspects that Mansoor has already mentioned, providing, it's a real impact investment for people who are desperately in need of electricity on the continent. And it's a real game changer in our opinion. Now, this is slightly different to our typical IPP or PPP investments where we have government counterparty risk. Here, of course, we don't have any of that. So we looked at the different PRI products. And of course, we liked what MIGA was offering. And of course, MIGA offered us very good pricing. And so it twisted our arm really, and we approached MIGA then to underwrite the PRI for this particular investment.
And really the same question to you, Harry. What was Lion's Head and OGEF's role in the transaction? And how was it different and innovative from your perspective?
Thanks, Hoda. So in terms of the innovation within the deal and the appeal of the transaction, I think it really had 3 component parts. The first is for us, it was about moving into a new geography. So we have a Pan-African approach and investment policy under the Off-Grid Energy Access Fund. And we had worked with Bboxx in Rwanda in the past. The second piece for us was about expanding the partnerships that we have. The straightforward elements there were working with a new set of local mobile network operators to identify and document the cash flows being received by Bboxx from their customers and enable using those as security. Partnering with local banks, but where we could integrate them into the transaction as a security agent and playing other roles affiliated with the large-scale working capital facility. And then the third piece was layering in the support from MIGA and addressing critical macro risks alongside our own underlying credit risk analysis.
So let me turn back to you, Mansoor. You're company, Bbox was an operating company and fairly successful before AIIM and Lion's Head came in. So why did this transaction in particular, how did it help you expand your services?
What this transaction really does is actually to improve the financial hygiene of what is required to actually mobilize that capital. The fact that we actually can put together a structure that is allowing equity and debt to be invested in regions, invested in demographics, and invested in customer bases. And that is exactly why this transaction has been transformative for Bbox.
Finally, and this is a question I want to put to all of the panelists, what will it take to mobilize private investment and private capital in order to continue to grow this space? So Mansoor, over to you first.
Particularly in countries like Kenya, Rwanda, and DRC, require a lot more funding to go in, and that perceived risk and real risk, I believe MIGA has played an extremely important role to bridge between that perceived and real risk opportunity, and to allow investors like AIIM and investors like Lion's Head to participate in this sort of transaction. So if that continues and we can unlock greater amounts of capital, we can accelerate the story that's already happening and hopefully contribute towards SDG 7 of universal electrification for all.
Thanks so much, Mansoor. Okay, now to the point of unlocking private capital. Ashwin, let's start with you from the private equity perspective. What will it take? What will it take to really mobilize and scale up private capital into the off-grid space?
So, what we want is to secure good customers with a payment ability to maintain their system and payments over a longer period of time. And like I say, somewhere between 3 and 7 years, or maybe even longer. So we're looking at that longer term perspective. And I think once the businesses achieve those kinds of metrics, it'll be much easier to attract private capital and particularly private equity into this sector.
So Harry, the last word over to you from the debt side. What is it going to take to mobilize, in particular, long-term debt?
Probably everyone on this call sees the extent of the funding gap and the extent of the material impact on individual households and businesses across Africa through access to energy, but also access to a range of other services. For us, I think when we think about how private capital engages there, we really come at the market from how can we build out local funder and in particular local lender engagement with the energy access sector. And as Ashwin was touching on, successful data collection around customer cash flows that ultimately make this business model and the energy access sector as a whole viable, financially sustainable, and a huge growth opportunity.
That is about all the time we have for today. So I'd like to thank our panelists again for their very insightful perspectives. If you're interested in learning more about MIGA and our work to mobilize private capital into developing countries, please visit us at miga.org or follow us on our social media channels, which you can find in the links below. Thanks again for tuning in and have a great day.